please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, the big headline from the GST front, the group of ministers on the Sugar Cess met today but did not firm up a view on the matter. The panel will meet on the 20th of July, that is the GST Council, and the GST Council will in fact take a decision. Sources tell us that the GoM is of the view that the urgency of imposing a sugar cess has in fact receded. The panel may consider a 1% cess on luxury goods to create a fund to tackle agricultural distress. Joining us now to discuss this further is MS Money partner GST at Deloitte India and Suresh Rohira of Grant Thornton. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us. So, Money, let me start by asking you, it looks like because of the opposition that's come in from state governments to the very idea of bringing about a sugar cess, the government has stepped back a little bit. But now the possibility of at least provisioning for a luxury cess that can be levied as and when required, that brings us back to square one, does it not, Money?
I think, as I've said before, the idea of a cess, whether we call it a luxury cess or whether we call it an agricultural cess, is a little retrograde, because the whole purpose of GST was not to have cesses. And we already have a compensation cess which, came into the picture largely because at that point of time there was no other mechanism to compensate the state for their revenue loss. So we have to live with compensation cess, and we are kind of, used to it now. Now, if we bring back one more cess, whatever we call it, and I would not lend too much credence to the terminology that is used, whether we call it a luxury cess or a limited luxury cess, or someone was also...
Or an agriculture cess.
Agricultural cess, It doesn't make a difference, what term we use.
That's right.
The key point remains that when these cesses were abolished at that point of time, there was a press release which said very clearly that the whole purpose of abolishing these 15-odd cesses is that we have had enough and more of these, and now we want to simplify the tax structure. So if we are now going to have one more cess, it is certainly going to, I would not say it opens a Pandora's box, that would be too broad and too sweeping. But I would say that it certainly sets the precedent for some other cesses and some other distress which happens in terms of what needs to be done.
Suresh, it looks in all probability the sugar cess is not going to be taken forward. Even a luxury cess may not be cleared at the next meeting of the GST Council. They may in fact discuss the possibility of bringing about a luxury cess. Bad in principle, given the fact that it is against the very nature of a GST architecture.
Well, absolutely, Shireen. Firstly, as we talk of moving on from the erstwhile regime of 17 taxes and 23 cesses, and specific 15 cesses earlier which were abolished, was with the intent that we would not have new cards in the pack. And this is something which is, really shocking, I would say, that whether one can call it a luxury cess, specifically in terms of sugar. So the entire intent of abolishing all the cesses earlier, would not go well with the industry if they were to introduce cess again on sugar. So to my mind,
or a luxury item, however they do decide to define that, if they go down this road. But Suresh, I want to talk to you about what we could expect as far as rate revisions are concerned. The Finance Secretary making it very clear at the CNBC TV18 GST conclave that we first have to look at the revenue picture before we decide to take any further action on rate revisions. But he did also say that things like ATF and natural gas may perhaps be easier to move forward with. There are also, pleas coming in, demands from within government to bring down the rate on things like ethanol. What is the expectation now as far as possible rate revisions are concerned, and the impact, especially ATF, natural gas, and things like ethanol?
So firstly, let me tell you that in terms of rate revision, definitely it's there on the cards. And why we say that is because today, looking at the collections which have taken place, we are around to 1 lakh crore per month. And that's a number which they were anyways anticipating. So today they want to revise the rates considering the 4 slabs to be brought down to 3 slabs. And while I say that, there could be a probability of some products, having an increase in the rate and some products having a reduction in the rate. And having said that, as far as ATF and natural gas is concerned, I think it's a very logical move because petroleum products, all the petroleum products cannot be brought under the net overnight. But bringing ATF and natural gas would definitely have a positive impact on the industry, specifically from a manufacturing cost standpoint and also services. So I see it's a very positive sentiment to be given to the industry if ATF and natural gas were to be brought under the net. And certainly looking at the collections going up, they should look at revision rates, bringing it down from 4 slabs to 3.
Okay, all right. Let me go back across now to Money. Money, what's your expectation as far as rates are concerned?
Shireen, I do not honestly see too much of room for do anything on rates for the next couple of months because the revenues really need to stabilize. I would feel that we have not reached a stage where the revenues have stabilized to an extent where we can start thinking of tinkering with the rates. We also have to be cognizant of the fact that the last time when we had a major rate reduction, which was in the month of November 2017, the collections crashed in the next month by approximately 10,000 odd crores. So the government would be mindful of that experience in the past, and therefore they would be very cautious in terms of doing anything to do with rates. What I would feel at a broad level is if there are very few products which are subjected to a very high rate, and if by reducing the rate on some of these products, if that fuels consumption, on account of which the total collections increase, yes, there could be a good case for taking care of those products only. But I would expect that the rate slab, really speaking, will need to be 4 slabs, despite the fact that this is certainly not optimal. I think we'll have to live with it for some time. And maybe in the next meeting, we'll see some specific product rates being tweaked.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate you joining us, MS Money and Suresh Roira, on the meetings that have been underway on the GST. Remember, the GST Council is meeting on the 21st, and this will be the first meeting of the GST Council that will be chaired by Piyush Goyal as Finance Minister. That, of course, is going to be something to watch out for as well. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of After the Bell. Stay tuned to Markets Today. Up next.